Howdy, folks. It's Travis here with Coyote Moon Creative, your Squarespace marketplace expert and Squarespace Platinum certified partner. Here to shoot a quick video on the Squarespace promotional pop-up. So the promotional pop-up is essentially a way to gather email addresses for your Squarespace email campaigns newsletter. You can think of this in a couple different ways. One of them is a lead magnet. So a pop-up that displays, 10% down the page, 25% down the page, or on a timer, let's say after 10 seconds. And it displays something that's very captivating, right? Something that your site visitors would otherwise be willing to pay money for that you're giving away for free. So some ideas on my site in the past have been a checklist for using Fluid Engine and kind of some of the nuances, tips, and tricks to designing really amazing Squarespace sites. So that would display, in my instance, 25% down the page when a new site visitor is coming to the site. So today's video is all about optimizing, formatting, and making the best possible promotional pop-up you can on Squarespace, because I think that it is challenging, especially for a new user, to really understand how to design that promotional pop-up in a way that really looks and feels right. So let's jump right in. So I'm on the back end of my own website here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the marketing tools panel, and I am going to choose promotional. Excuse me. I am going to choose promotional pop-up. By default, Squarespace has that disabled, so go ahead and click the on button. From here, you have a bunch of different layout options you get to choose, but I will leave you with one recommendation. If you like the layout of your existing design, do not click change layout, because you're unable to go back and retain the same site styles that you had created under each individual layout. So hopefully that makes sense. Shoot me a message if you need me to explain that any further. Again, this is really a tutorial in walking you through all the weird little intricacies of this promotional pop-up. The other hard thing about it is that you can't really see it in real time. The Squarespace editor doesn't allow you to expand the screen into full. If I were to click this, it would just pop me directly out of this promotional pop-up field. So basically we've got this condensed, sort of crammed version that we have to look at. We can make updates, and we can see updates to, things like the heading, the body text, the email input, the button, all that good stuff. But to actually see it in its full display, you need to check your browser on your live site to see those changes. Okay, so let's start from the top. So choose your layout. This specific layout, we've got the image with the text overlaid. I've chose an image from a recent build I did for a vintage Ford Bronco restoration company called Highline Classics. So that is my background image. The reason I chose it is because I think the white on blue and the white on black and charcoal is a nice color contrast. But we're really going to fine tune this. Basically, this is just the built-in native formatting that Squarespace gave me. But we can customize a lot here, including the heading, the body text, the background color of both the email input and the button. We can also add a border. So without further ado, let's walk through. So the first step, action, click it, take a look. You can either sign up for a newsletter or click a button. In this instance, I am encouraging folks to sign up for my newsletter. So I have a captivating headline and a couple 2-3 sentence supporting body paragraph to get folks engaged and excited about signing up for my newsletter. And then I also customize the button text, get the good stuff. So sign up for a newsletter. Again, you can also do a button. You can actually do 2 buttons if you want, it looks like here, and send folks to either an external link or a link on your site if you're really drawing. So this might be useful if you're trying to draw attention to a new landing page, a new service offering, potentially a new project within your portfolio, right? So that would be useful for click a button. But on the sign up for a newsletter, the email field placeholder text, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as email address, but you can customize that as you see fit. Storage tab. This is where the newsletter subscribers are going to be stored. In this instance, I have Squarespace email campaigns set up. So I just have it set to the mailing list as newsletter sign up. If you have multiple mailing lists and you want to segment who gets put into this bucket, you can choose from the drop down here if you have multiple mailing lists. Verification, you can either have folks receive a confirmation email or just turn on reCAPTCHA, either or. Post submit, I've actually added a post submit message here. I said, thanks for signing up. While you're at it, check out my blog. It's packed with quick tips, tutorials, ideas to help you get more out of your Squarespace site. So again, I'm trying to create a scenario that, no matter who comes to my site and sees this pop up, adds their email, they are satisfied with their experience. They're immediately going to get a really cool branded email. They're also going to get a post submit message that encourages them to check out all of my cool code tutorials on my blog. And if you want, you can also add your own post submit HTML here. Okay, so we're going to click save. We're going to go back. So we've gone through enabling display pop up, chosen our layout. Again, don't mess with this if you like the layout you have, because you're going to have to redo all the site styles if you go back to it. We've chosen our action. Now let's go to the content. Pretty straightforward here. Add your headline, add your body. Body text will also allow you to bold, italicize, all that good stuff, just like the regular text block within Squarespace will. Okay, so that's self-explanatory. Now let's go ahead and see the next section is display and timing. Okay, so pages. The pop-up will appear on the first page the visitor opens. You can limit the pop-up to certain pages. So I have it to set to show the pop-up on any first page. You can also select a specific page. So if you select only certain pages, then you get to select your pages here, right? That's great. Timing. Choose when to display the pop-up. The pop-up will show on scroll or the set timer, whichever comes first. So I have it to show on a timer and scroll. So I have it to show after 10 seconds. Somebody's on any given page. And I also have it to show at 25% down as they scroll. You can change that to either show on a scroll or show on a timer, but I have it set to both. Frequency, after the visitor sees the pop-up, show it again. I have it as the next day. If you're somebody who is cognizant and kind of worried about, spamming people a little too much with that pop-up, you can choose to show it in a week, 2, 30 days, or never again. Choose this if you don't want to show it again after they sign up. I recommend that. And then choose to show it on mobile. I also recommend that. And we'll go through a little bit of the nuances of the mobile version, but basically, the mobile version is not going to display the image. There's just not enough real estate within a screen size that small. So it basically shows the truncated version of just the heading, the body paragraph, and then the sign up area, which is what you want. And typically that will display in the bottom part of the mobile screen as they're there. Okay, click save. Now let's go back to our general menu settings here. Okay, so we've gone through the first 4. Now let's go to image. This is what's controlled here, right? So I've added my image here. When you click add images, you either upload an image from your local device or you search images from your image asset library. Either or. Great. Good idea in this particular layout to choose an image that has good color contrast. So that's why I chose the blue as the background color there. Now let's go to style. This is really the meat and potatoes of formatting how this looks. So by default, the headline font is set to Helvetica New, but I actually want it to match the heading font of my website, which is Shackleton. So I'm actually going to choose Shackleton. You can choose a font weight. Oh, the font weight here is just 1, so it's already set at 400. You can customize the size, the letter spacing, text transform, line height, just like you could on any text block on Squarespace. Color, again, you can change it to whatever you want. Body font, same. So the headline and the body font are going to default to Helvetica New. So you want to go in and make sure that you're using, if you want to match your site, make sure you're using the heading and body paragraph fonts that exist on your website. Okay, so now the heading and body match the website. The weight on the, obviously, I'm going to bump it up to 400 potentially even 500 just to make it a little bit more visible. Let's try 400. Okay, great. Size, letter spacing, by default 17px. I feel like that's a pretty good number. I don't think you need to mess with that. Color's good. If you wanted to, you could pull a color from your palette. So for instance, if I wanted to do like the orange within my color palette as the headline color, just to sort of differentiate things, I could throw that in there. But honestly, I think it's going to look better with just all white. Okay, so we've changed all that. Background color. That's the color behind, as you see. So you can change that to whatever you want within your color wheel. Squarespace is kind of weird. They don't actually allow you to pull up your site colors into this. So you kind of have to have those either hex color values saved somewhere that you can quickly sort of revert to as needed. But maybe we use the orange from our palette as the background color. That looks kind of cool. Okay. Auto overlay color. As you can see, that'll just add a color to the image. And I might actually set this a little bit darker. I might set that to like there so that it's legible. And might also just do like a full black. Right? So there's full black. And then if we click that, we can drag and customize that a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Auto loading color, great. Button font, same thing. Helvetica New by default. I'm going to choose obviously because obviously that is the body font and the button font of the rest of my site. So that's why I'm going to do that. I'm also going to increase the font weight to 500 and the text transform to uppercase. Let's see. I think 0.02 looks pretty good. And then instead of 14, I might actually just match the size of the body paragraph, maybe 15. Perfect. Font style solid, outline raised. Pretty self-explanatory there. Shape rectangle. I'm going to do rounded corners because it matches the rest of my site. Color. I'm also going to use the color from my website so that it matches the buttons on my website. Text color is good. Newsletter sign up. That's this inline stacked. Whichever you prefer. Rectangle. Perfect. Input field background I'll leave as white. Input field background also has a default value of Helvetica New for the font family, and I'm going to choose obviously just like the rest of them. 14, same size as the button. And I might also, there's no text transform for that, but if there were, you can use CSS to target that. But if there's a text transform, I'd do uppercase to match the button. Good. Text color, black. Disclaimer font, obviously, we'll change it from Helvetica New. So now everything's looking really good. Disclaimer font, disclaimer color, close button. You can do icon or a text that displays up here and the right. And I have it set as inside. And I think white works well with the rest of the layout here. Overlay animation, scale up, fade in, or slide in. Advanced layout. Okay, so this is the overlay design. I'm actually going to enable the overlay design. As you can see, by default, it'll probably set your value to somewhere around like 400 or 500 px content width. I increase the width of this so that when I view it on a live site, I can actually see everything. There's nothing cropped. Like the Highline Classics, header, footer, everything is perfectly within the viewport without getting cropped. At 400 px, everything was very smushed. So increase or decrease the value of the content width to actually increase the background size of the image. The vertical padding is something that I'm also going to have to increase. So for example, I'm probably going to have to take this to like 150. Horizontal padding's good. Headline spacing is at 18 by default. Action spacing is at 35 by default. I might just take that down to 18 too, so they match. Content border. As you see, there's a 10px content border around this. One thing that you can do is add your own color to the content border. So you'll see that added there. Since that's the case, I'm actually going to remove the background color here. Or maybe I'll just do black as the background color. Yeah, that's fine. Black's good. And we'll see how this looks on the live site. Again, it's really challenging to know how this is all going to look in the editor because you're unable to click save, click out, and see the full view, which is strange. The Squarespace hasn't updated that. Anyways, okay, let's get back down here to the bottom. Okay, so we went through the content width. We increased the vertical padding. You can also increase the horizontal padding. We set the headline and action spacing both to 18. We've got our content border. I might go a little less than 10. I think 5 looks a little bit better. You can also set mobile specific styles. So all of these styles, I'm going to disable those because we can look at that now. Okay, so I'm going to save it. And this is the interesting part. So to test this, what I do, especially if you have site visitors that have come or yourself as a user, if you're testing, depending on what the display and timing settings are, you actually have to go and reset those settings in order to see that pop up on your live site. So I'll show you how to do that. So when we go back into the promotional pop-up editor, and I'm just finding that by shift \. We go into the pop-up editor and we click display and timing. You go down to the very bottom. If you click reset and save, that'll reset as if you were a brand new site visitor. So you can actually test that on your live site. And then what we see, so now I'm going to go over and refresh the page and scroll down, and beautiful. I can see everything display just as it should in the full width. The height and width are perfect. I can see everything within the viewport. I've got my heading, my body paragraph, and get the good stuff, and it all looks great. Awesome. All right, well, let me know if you guys found this tutorial useful. If you guys have any questions, particularly if you have questions around customizing beyond what's available within the the built-in features within the editor, shoot me a message. My email is travis@coyotemooncreative.com. You can always contact me by clicking the Start Your Project button or leave a comment within the YouTube video. Thanks so much for watching, and be on the lookout for more Squarespace-specific design tutorials. Have a great one.